newest episode of the Grind Fantasy Football Podcast. This is your host, Governor Greg Davis, alongside co-host and producer Big Chops.
How's it going,
Choppers, how we
guys?
doing tonight?
Yeah, doing great. Ready to talk some fantasy football? Yeah, I'm psyched.
Had it, baby. Just kind of speaking off the cuff, get things rolling here. How'd your teams do last week?
Pretty good. I was happy. I somehow managed to get Herbert on the waiver wire. His replacement for I was kind of disappointed in Bo Nix's performance. Thought it was an upgrade. Snagged him, and he did well for me. I think he got me 32 points or so. Um, but yeah,
Tremendous.
it was a nice week for me. How about you, bud?
Good. It was great. The quarterback who I spent a third round pick on. May have heard of him. He plays in Ohio. He broke his toe or
Oof.
tore some ligaments or something, and he got me about 10 points, which is a bummer for sure. And looks like he's going to miss the rest of the fantasy season. So yeah, I guess it didn't go quite as well as your game, um,
In case anybody couldn't
which is,
decipher
I
it,
guess,
we played against
unfortunate
each
for
other.
me. Oh, was that you?
Yeah, that was me.
Was that you? Oh,
I believe it was.
terrific. Well, congratulations on the victory. I'm happy for you. Real, real happy for you. Um, yeah. So
Well, you
so
got some stuff
congrats.
to be happy about. Is it Addison that's out, and you got Jordan Mason? That's something to look forward to, right?
Oh, well, sure, but that didn't help me last week
Hey,
per,
it's
per
early in the
se.
season, man. It's early in the season.
So that's what they say. Yeah, so thank you again for the update on your squad. Wish you all the best going forward. And why don't we take a look at what's on the agenda for today's show, Travis?
Well, to start off with, we're doing a quick waiver wire recap. I'm just going to go through the four major positions, talk about some of the guys that were the top targets, and how we see them going forward. Second quarter, we're looking at streaming defense and special teams. Not a, some people play IDP. Greg and I are in one of those leagues. Especially that aforementioned game. But defense special teams are definitely still, I feel, the majority of the leagues out there. So personally, I like to put a lower emphasis on drafting those and prefer to stream them from week to week. So we'll see who's some of the teams to look forward to that aren't rostered too much on, across most leagues, most platforms, and who have favorable matchups. Not only just this week, but going forward, who might be somebody that you want to hold on to. Third quarter, we're looking at just our general impressions on the different fantasy football platforms. Um, we'll tell you who those are, later in the program. And to wrap up with, we have Travis's teasers. We'll do a recap on how I did last week with picks that I have coming up. And then we'll also review some of Dick's picks. It's a friend of ours, Richie Sorallo. He's a great guy, the commissioner of our league, the main league that we're in. He definitely has some interesting picks, and we'll see how he did. And then to wrap it all up at the 2 minute warning, we'll go through Greg's pick'ems for the week, and then we'll see how Greg fares on Team Straight Up versus how I do. So yeah, we got a nice, concise little lineup for us. So let's get going. We're going to start off with the waiver wire recap of the week. We're going to look at
Let's get going.
yeah, we're looking at running backs first, and I
Whew.
think we'll all agree that the main guy to target this week, it was kind of thin, but Scatabo. I know in our league and in other leagues, he was dropped after his, week one below expectation performance, but he definitely bounced back this week with a decent, hefty game. Enough, I'd say for like a running back two, maybe flex player, but he definitely is on the rise. How do you feel about Scatabo?
Yeah, I thought Scotabo is really showing that he's going to take over this backfield. I think Tyron Tracy Jr. Is being phased out. I think that he um, did some things that you can't do on the field on Sunday, and the coaching staff has lost some confidence in him. And now Scotabo is primed to take over that backfield. So I think that is the rare kind of early season waiver pickup where you get yourself a potential RB1 the rest of the way. So I thought that that was a really good pickup for anybody who was able to snag him off the waivers. Uh, yeah, last night.
Yeah, he definitely had a very large increase on his usage. He went from 2 rushing attempts on week one to 11 on week two. But then again, I'm looking at this, and he's playing a Dallas defense. A lot of people are critical of Dallas's decision to trade away Micah Parsons, what that means for their defense going forward. And looking ahead, he's facing a Kansas City defense in week three. Do you think Scatabo will be able to up his game?
I think that he's going to get more opportunities, especially in the midterm and the short term, and we'll see if he can take advantage of them. As it looked on Sunday, I think that he is capable. He looked like he did when he was playing at Arizona State there, and I think that he'll be a big weapon for them going forward. So all in on Scatabo. It might take a couple weeks until he usurps the RB1 role, but barring the rookie wall, I think that he will be a very useful fantasy player for at least a couple months.
Yeah, I think this is probably one of his most crucial weeks where he can kind of cement his spot in there. He's going up against a stout defense. He's on the rise, so it'll be very interesting to see how he finishes the end of the week. Up
Yeah, and
next, oh, sorry.
you really don't know what the Giants are going to do on offense either. How long that Russell Wilson maintains that job versus if they go to Jackson Dart and the youth movement. So I think that there's a lot of question marks around that offense, and solid running game would really calm things down if they stick with Russell as they said they're going to. Of course, yeah, the training camp promises often ring hollow, but if they do stick with Russ, I think that would limit Scattabo's upside. If Dart's there, I think that they grow together. So a lot to come from the Giants' offense, but I think Scattabo is probably the pickup of the week if players are able to swing him and have that need at the running back position.
Agreed. Yeah, so up next, we have our second running back. That is the handcuff to Bijan Robinson. That would be Tyler Algier. He definitely got also an increased number of carries. A lot more productive. He was running 4.8 yards per attempt, so he definitely impressed there. But I mean, that seemed like it was also a game with a lot of running because Bijan Robinson also ran for 6.5 yards per attempt. So um, I know he's at the top of the waiver wire. Do you think he's one of the top handcuffs that you can get, Greg, or do you think there's anybody better as far as running backs for second?
I think right now, especially with who's already been taken, i.e. Like Charbonnet, for instance. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think Algier really does top that next level of true handcuffs with maybe some production on their own week to week. I think Trey Benson is up in there. I think Blake Corum is also in there. I
Yeah.
like DJ Giddens a lot because of Indianapolis's offensive line specifically, and the way the offense has taken off this year with Daniel Jones at the controls. Deacon is calling plays, calling great games, at least through the first 2 weeks of the season. So I like Giddens a lot. If Bashal Tutin's still around, I think he's somebody who needs to be picked up. So yeah, I think that the San Francisco understudy, whoever that is, whether it's Brian Robinson or Garindo, who you really have trust in. Seems
Mm.
like the coaching staff likes Brian Robinson more for that role, and seems like he's still kind of getting accustomed to the offensive scheme there. But long story short, there's a lot of really terrific options, and I do think that Algier is one of the better ones. Really, it's all about kind of the roll of the dice and the luck at that point. All of these guys could have standalone value at some point as a flex consideration during a really lean week, but ideally there has to be some injury in front of them for any of them to have some true relevance as somebody that you'll slot into your RB2 or hopefully not RB1 slot with confidence.
Yeah, it seemed like there was just a lot of running going on in that game. Between both these guys, we have 38 rushing attempts against Minnesota, in week 2. So I mean, I know people have been kind of concerned about Drake London, his receiving output, and it hasn't been quite where they want. So it seems like the Falcons are definitely leaning heavily on this run game.
Yeah, it was a gross game to watch. Also, it was so slow paced, and McCarthy didn't look good, and it was really tough game to watch. So I guess there would have been a lot of running going on just because it wasn't
Go with what
very
works, man.
entertaining.
If you're running at 6.5 yards per carry and you got 22 attempts, like there's no reason to stop there. So, all right, let's move on to our second spot on the waiver wire recap, looking at wide receivers. I think the top guy taken this week was definitely Quentin Johnston. I believe he had a he had 2 touchdowns week 1, 1 touchdown week 2. 7 targets in each. So this he's a very polarizing player. He's one of those guys, at least to me, that he puts up. He'll have a handful of games that are just amazing. If you happen to luck out, get him in your wide receiver flex spot while he plays one of those games, then he's a very top producer. But he can also go long stretches with very little production. He's very hot and cold, like I said, very polarizing. What do you think about Quentin Johnston, Greg?
Yeah, streaky player. All the athletic talent in the world. Really talented guy. He excels as next receiver on those go routes. I was concerned about Keenan Allen's insertion into the offense. Not only for Johnson, but for Ladd McConkey. But in this case, I thought that Keenan Allen, which he has, would soak up a lot of targets. But what it has done is soften up the coverage on the outside and allowed Johnson to go for those 50-50 balls and do the things he can do. Obviously, he's got stone hands in the sense that he's had a number of drops early in his career and even a couple this season, but that 6-yard touchdown was a thing of beauty and shows what can happen when he gets loose. So he obviously has, again, just immense talent, and given the right play, circumstance, coverage, he can dominate on any down. So I love the player. I don't love the volatility of the Chargers passing game. They've been feasting early on in the first 2 weeks, but it seems like Harbaugh and Roman are at some point going to go back to that run heavy game when they can and kind of limit Herbert's upside and therefore Johnson's. And Lat McConkey really hasn't shown up the first couple weeks here.
No, he has
And I
not.
don't know if that's just some redundancy with Keenan Allen and kind of their overlapping skill sets. But it has opened up Johnson on the outside for what it's worth. So that's just an interesting wrinkle into that whole Chargers passing and catching tree.
Yeah, so it kind of seems like this is a guy that you may want to consider grabbing on the waiver wire if he's available, but he's not something
Oh
that you
yeah,
want to.
if he's on your waiver wire, get him right now
But temper your
immediately.
expectations. He
Right
has
now.
high potential, but yeah, it's just I think he's a guy that you just want to hold on to just to see how it kind of plays out because we are definitely still early in the season, so I think these next coming weeks are where we'll start to actually see some real trends and stuff. So yeah, should be definitely another interesting player to keep an eye on. Up next, we have Troy Franklin, and I know you were talking about this guy, so you want to kind of fill us in, Greg, on what makes this guy so hot for the waiver wire?
Oh, I think that he's a clear number two at least with Cortland Sutton. So kind of the alpha who got paid last offseason. What I like about Franklin is his increased route participation. I think he uh, featured higher on that scale than Sutton did last week,
Hmm.
and he and Bo Nix were college teammates and
That's right,
roomed together back with the Oregon Ducks.
the Dirty
So I think they
Ducks.
have kind of a natural connection. They've been playing a lot of football, had a lot of reps together. So I think that chemistry does count for something. And if we keep seeing those spike weeks from Franklin, I think he's worth kind of a dart throw flex in the waiver wires this week. There's not a ton of really compelling options after Johnston, Troy Franklin, of course, and then I think Kayshon Boutte for the
Patriots.
Patriots might be the next one.
Yeah, he's definitely
Uh,
on our list. Now this guy I didn't really know too much about him going into the season, but yeah, it seems like he had also a hot last few games of last season. 15, 16, 17, I believe. So yeah, he's
yeah, yeah, he's a very consistent player with the opportunity he's got, even across two different offensive systems. Of course, with McDaniel's taking over, um, Daniels taking over the offense for the Patriots this year, and the new obviously head coach situation. So he's shown out over the course of a couple regimes, and I think that says a lot. And now Drake May and him have grown together, and so it's a really cool thing to see. And I think that he has been the number one receiver over there. Even though I thought Diggs would have been, it looks like it is actually Boutte who's taking the reins.
now look like the Patriots kind of leaned on the running game a lot more in week two against Miami. Do you think that's just the same case going forward? Looks like Drake May only had 23 attempts. I mean, that's after 46 from week one. That's such a huge discrepancy. Where do you think the kind of the median line goes from here for the balance of the New England Patriots?
Yeah, the Dolphins defense sucks. They're pretty crappy. So I would expect a lot of people to try to run on them over the course of four quarters of a game. As far as when May did pass, or actually was part of the rushing attempts, he did look more than capable. I thought it looked pretty good when it was all said and done. As far as the ultimate distribution of touches, Ramondre Stevenson has looked good in the early part of this season. They haven't used Travion Henderson much. I think that's a function of him still learning the position at the pro level and the offensive line still coming together again with the new system in place. But it looks like and feels like the running game and Stevenson specifically is what they're going to try and lean on early on. So yes, I don't see that changing unless they're in some sort of a shootout type situation. But I think their identity under Vrabel is going to be try and look for advantages in the running game and then use Drake May's rushing ability as well off of that, and then pick your spots with those play action passes and that kind of thing. So that's
Yeah.
how I see it playing out for the Patriots.
All right. Yeah. It's another player to keep an eye on. See how he progresses through the year. Yes, that's it for our wide receivers. Let's move on real quick to the quarterbacks. This guy, I know you're not too high
He's my
on
favorite
him.
player. It's my favorite player ever, actually.
Daniel
Um,
Jones, Indianapolis
yeah,
Jones.
put in for him in every single league I'm in because nobody had him because they're all smart. But now I don't have him, and I'm very sad.
Mm.
So yeah, Daniel Jones, get him while you can, and
So he's going up against Tennessee
good luck.
next week. You think he's going to be able to keep up this hot pace that he's got going?
I think Tennessee's defense is not very good. I also think that the Indianapolis run game and offensive line is strong. They're using a really creative offense, getting Tyler Warren lots of
Oh
looks.
yeah, I think Taylor and was the RB1 last week.
yeah, they have a really great line, and I think they will continue to try to exploit that. Stegan will absolutely look to use that as an advantage, and they don't have necessarily number one receiver. I think Warren is probably the number one option, and it'll rotate between Pittman or Downs or
Hmm.
even Alec Pierce sometimes, um, since they don't get a lot of production out of the backfield on passing plays. Yeah, so I think the Colts are kind of a sneaky team, and yeah, I do see them producing offensively in this game.
All right. Our second quarterback, we're looking at right now on his waiver wire potential, is coming off the heels of the big Joe Burrow injury. Jake Browning's going to be taking over at quarterback. Yeah, this is it's huge. The ripples going all throughout every league. You know,
Gross. So
because
gross.
Chase being the number one guy, even he's
Oh my
still got
God.
a super high amount of points, 30, 40
Yeah.
points or something like that last week.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jake Browning
Yeah.
taking over the reins.
I
What do
know.
you
You
know?
know,
What do you know about this
love
guy,
Jake
Greg?
Browning. Yeah, Jake Browning. Good college quarterback. He went to. Did he go to Washington?
Washington.
UW. Yeah, went to UW. Cannon of an arm. Good. Stands tall in the pocket. Good processor. Not the fastest release, but he reads the field well, and he's been a quarterback for a long time. He's a good quarterback in college. He's been a career backup in the NFL, but you see a lot of defenses. You play a lot of different offensive schemes and systems, and he's been with the Bengals for a couple years. So I think he knows their system really well, and I think he's a good backup. And I think he will be able to guide the team because they have such strong offensive weaponry. the offensive line is it's Swiss cheese, really.
Oh,
That's what got Burrow kind of destroyed. So I don't like that, but I think that if he gets time, he can deliver the ball well, and I think that he's a good quarterback. But obviously, he's not Joe Burrow.
so
So
in like
um,
deeper leagues, with maybe like QB2s or Superflex, he's worth a pickup, you think?
yeah, I mean, if Joe Burrow got destroyed in your league, let's say you had him and you didn't get Daniel Jones, um, I think it's a good speculative pick. I mean, who else would you have potentially gotten as a quarterback? Uh,
True. Yeah, I mean,
Mac Jones, for like a week or two. Maybe Trevor Lawrence, if you believe in that. I don't think
it's getting harder and
Carson
harder.
Wentz in Minnesota is good. Tyrod Taylor in the Jets. Yeah, I just don't think that there's a lot you can do in the quarterback really right now. I think most people's backups are better than whatever's on the waiver wire, or whoever you potentially find starting. So Browning's probably good as anything, just because he's going to be the starter, and he can just toss it up to Higgins and Chase, and
Hmm.
um, they have a strong rushing game, and he can dump it off to Chase Brown out of the backfield. So, yeah, I think he's probably the second best you can do behind Daniel Jones.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll keep an eye on him, see if he can tighten his game up. I mean, he had a lot of impressive offensive stats, but he also threw 3 picks, so I don't know. I mean, seems like a big ask of somebody, having to fill Burrow's shoes, but he got the job done. We'll see how he does next week.
Yeah, you got to, Big Chops, you make a good point. You look at the context of that game where, compared to Mac Jones, right? Like, he took every first team snap last week and during practice because they knew Brock Purdy was out, right? Browning has to come
Hmm.
in the first half of the game where, he's playing the scout team that week on the practice field, and then
Yeah, and you're putting a system where it's high amount of passing too, so that's an extra bit of pressure on you right there.
and I'm pretty sure he was, down, but he comes in and leads them on a last minute touchdown drive to win the game. Remember that I think they were down
Hmm.
4 before he hit got the touchdown at the end.
I was definitely watching that
So
game. Yeah.
yeah, high pressure situation, and he guided the team through that adversity, and again did it cold off the bench without those starter reps. So I think that says a lot, and I think he's in a good cohesive system that'll maximize his strengths. Sorry,
Yeah.
please, yeah, proceed.
All right. Beautiful. So yeah, that brings us to our last part of the waiver wire recap. Just going over the couple tight ends. Hopefully, if you're in need of tight end, you got either one of these guys, because they are the hot shit right now. The first guy, Jawan Johnson of the New Orleans Saints. Yeah, so this guy, he's averaging double-digit targets. Um, for a tight end, that's huge. That becomes almost like a wide receiver like that, or wide receiver like. So having somebody that's getting that many targets, if you're getting thrown the ball, you're gonna produce, and if you're not, then you're probably gonna get sat. At least my opinion. So it's good to see who's getting the most targets on each team. We'll see if that continues into week 3. What do you think about Juwan Johnson, Greg?
Love the usage. Again, the Prosser tosser, old Kellen Moore, went to high school down the street from where I live now. So love mentioning him anytime I can. And yeah, he is. You may remember him as the dude who like did the Statue of Liberty at Boise State, like to win that bowl game.
For
Uh,
our college football watching fans out there.
Yeah. Anyways, everyone remembers that. It was a killer game. Anyways, all joking and factual nature of sports casting aside, I love Kellen Moore's usage of tight ends. You saw it back when he was the offensive coordinator in Dallas. You saw it when he was in San Diego, even last year with Philadelphia. He is a guy who loves to use the tight end as a receiver. And I think Juwan Johnson's route participation, the number of targets he's getting, his success against the 49ers, who during the Salah style defensive era have clamped down on tight ends, especially with Warner there. For him to have success against that defense and also his performance week one, I think speaks volumes of where he's viewed. I think that the previous staff in New Orleans did not utilize him properly, and I think he's primed for a massive, massive season
Oh yeah,
down there in the swamp.
looking forward to that. So the next guy, I think equally as hot. A lot of people are talking about Harold Fannin Jr. on the Browns, and the most surprising thing is, supplanting Njoku. I think that was nobody was really seeing that coming. I know I targeted Njoku in he was a goal in a lot of my drafts as far as like a value tight end that you could get later and focus on other positions first. But I mean, this guy's got 9 and 5 targets. When he got the five, he caught all five, 9.6 yards per reception. Ended up finishing tight end 15, respectable, but still no touchdowns. Do you think he's going to be uh, included into the Browns' offense going forward?
I think Fannin is a terrific talent. I think that he was had one of the best tight end seasons in college history. I think that the Cleveland offense itself is probably going to be very sporadic as far as who's successful when, if they're successful. The early returns on Fannin are super positive, and if I was in a dynasty league and he wasn't already on somebody's roster, I would stop what I'm doing right now and go snag him. I think that he'll require a little more patience in redraft formats, and I think that his talent is going to be it's going to trump everything. The offensive coaching staff has had some really creative ways to get him the ball. He took a carry out of a wildcat formation where he was the quarterback. He lined up in the slot. He's been in line. He's had a terrific target share. He's somebody that this staff is looking to get the ball to. Is it surprising that he's getting these opportunities over Njoku? Absolutely. Njoku, especially with um, the Flacco as quarterback, they've had that really tight connection in the past. They've been on the same page that season that they stormed into the playoffs. So that everybody thought the connection was there, and I think it still is. But this coaching staff is doing a lot to get Fannin involved and involved in different spots on the field. So I think that the arrow is pointing way, way up. I think it just might require a little bit of patience just due to the volatility of the Cleveland offense as a whole, and how they're supposed to be one of the worst teams in the league. So there's probably not a lot of points to go around.
All right, sounds good. So that's going to wrap up our first quarter. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break, ladies and gentlemen, and we will be back.
And welcome back to the Grind Fantasy Football Podcast. This is your host, Great Governor Davis, alongside Big Chops Travis Gonzalez,
Welcome back.
the producer and co-host.
Mm-hmm.
And Travis, we just went through the waiver wire kind of additions, pickups, sort of previewers.
A lot
of
guys
the week.
keep an eye on going forward through next week and the weeks to come.
In that vein, another position that we did not touch on, but one that you have some great insight about, is the defense and special teams. Would you care to enlighten us about who you're looking at streaming for the defense and special teams next couple weeks?
Yeah, so we're looking at teams that are pretty much less than 50% rostered. Let's see. Here we go. So the first team, let's say you want to, just stream your teams, from week to week. You don't have one set team that you have a, attachment to, and maybe you want to play the matchups. I think this is a prime example. You got Seattle against New Orleans. Now Seattle looks like they're only rostered in about 24%, I believe, ESPN leagues. But what we're looking at is the implied points against, the amount that the opposing team is going to score. And we all know New Orleans is, kind of up in the air, at this point. According to Vegas, they have an implied total of only 17 points. That's definitely the lowest of all the lines that we have, for the week. So yeah, if you're looking for a different team, defense, special teams for your lineup, I think the Seattle's the number one spot. You have a good chance of still being able to snag them off the waiver wire. If they're not available, well, actually, did you have any insight on Seattle's defense against New Orleans, Greg, coming into week 3?
Well, Seattle's playing at home for the first time since they got walloped by the 49ers. Walloped, of course, being a strong word.
It's subjective.
So, yeah, they're coming off a big road victory against the Steelers, and I expect them to put on a great performance at home. We talked about the Saints a little bit, but I think that the Saints' talent deficiency is going to show up, and the Seahawks, they're gelling under Mike Macdonald. They had a lot of injuries last week, and they still were able to pull it off against a Steelers team that probably looks a little bit better on paper than New Orleans does. And so New Orleans traveling, yeah, it looks like a good spot for the Seahawks and their defense.
Yeah, New Orleans got their work cut out for them in such a hostile environment. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on them. But on the chance that Seattle did get snagged up in your league, second on the list we have is Indianapolis, and they are at Tennessee. Now these guys are a lot less rostered. Only about 7% of leagues have them. So they're definitely a team to look out for. That's most likely going to be on that waiver wire. And Vegas has Tennessee's team total set around 20 points, which is not the lowest or for the week, but the fact they're available and it's on the lower side, I think Indianapolis is a good bet. If you can't happen to get Seattle, so keep an eye out for those that Colt D. What do you think of Indy's chances against Tennessee? One of the looks like to be one of the worst offenses in the league, Greg.
Man, Travis, of all the rules that you love, you hate Tennessee as a 3.5-point home dog.
Well, I didn't say that. I mean, we got.
I think you did say that.
Wait, what?
I think that is what you're saying.
Why is that?
Well, if the Colts defense is going to do so well,
I mean,
All
we
right.
can look at
Okay.
the total for the game altogether later on. See if that correlates.
Alrighty. Yeah, I got nothing for you. Yeah, I want Tennessee to be better than they are. I want Pollard and Ridley and
Well,
Cam
don't we
Ward
all?
to be better, but the odds are looking like they're not going to be. So yeah, I love the Colts defense, and that's their brand of football, and I think they execute it against the Titans pretty well.
All right. And then well, finally, these guys before the waivers went through for the week, I believe they were only rostered in about half the leagues. This is the Green Bay Packers, which is surprising. I thought they'd have a much higher share, but yeah, I think they are a team that you could be comfortable just having throughout the season. I think they're going to consistently, especially with the addition of Micah Parsons, like we talked about earlier, um, that yeah they're going to be a solid choice going forward. So take a look at your waiver wires, see if Green Bay happens to be available. If they are, I think that is the defense just beyond streaming it for the week that you want to get on your roster. How do you feel about the Green Bay defense, Greg?
Love it. Love the Green Bay defense. Loved them before they got Parsons, and I think that their stock was reduced somewhat even with when that news broke because he had that back injury that had questionable going into week one, limited snap count talk, all that kind of stuff. So I think that their value was depressed slightly, and I think that they are a very strong defensive unit. Saw what they did against their division rival week one, holding the Lions to a very mediocre performance. And I think that they have a lot of ways to mitigate opposing offenses, and the defensive line is strong. The linebacking crew is good, and the DBs um, are also a plus unit. So yeah, I think that they're one of the better units, and they're probably one of the best. If they're still on your waiver wire, you should change that.
Yeah. All right. Excellent. So we're going to be going forward in more ways than one. So moving on to the next topic, we're still talking about streaming defenses, but this is going to be defenses to look for in the next few weeks, not just week 3, but 4, 5, and 6. So one of the reasons I like the Colts is because you can take them for this week. They're against Tennessee. They may not have the best matchup for week 4, against the Rams, but looking at week 5 and 6, they're going up against the Raiders, who definitely looked anemic on their Monday night game. And
Oh, Travis, you said it wrong.
what? What was it? Oh
Raider.
God, I refuse. I refuse.
Oh, you
Respectfully
know,
decline, sir. Um,
absolutely no fun at all.
but they also play Arizona in Week 6, which hasn't looked quite as hot as they were, previously. So, yeah, the Colts going forward, if you're able to get them, which should be able to, they're also not just a good streaming option for this week, but in the next weeks going forward. Um, Other than that, you also have the Chargers could be an option to switch from the Colts. They play the Giants on week 4. So if you're comfortable, if you got room on your roster, for carrying two defenses, um, might be a good option to snag them up before they get taken up on week 4, the Chargers. Um, me especially, and I know a lot of people like to stream those matchups, and it seems like the Giants are definitely one of those teams that you want to kind of consider when you're starting your defense special teams. So yeah, let's keep an
Yeah,
eye on those guys going forward.
You would think so, and then they put up 40 some odd 37 points last week against the Cowboys, and
Yeah, that was
Russell
also the
Wilson goes
Cowboys, dude.
nuclear,
That
and
was also the Cowboys.
well, they have Malik Neighbors, and
All right.
anyways,
Well, let's
good
see how
call,
they
good
do going
call.
into week 4. That'll be a point that we touch on. How about that?
That is a good call, Travis.
All right. So yeah, that concludes our second quarter, and we're heading into halftime right now. So thanks for hanging out with us, and we will be back in about 7 minutes.
We'll keep on grinding. And we're back live. Welcome to the Grind Fantasy Football Podcast. Travis Big Chops Gonzalez behind the glass. How you doing, Mr. Chops?
Yeah, I'm doing just fine, man.
Good, good. You know when you count me in and you like get to 5, 4, and it's like 3, 2 are all silent. It reminds me of Wayne's World when he's like kind of
That's what I was
banging
going
his head
for.
into.
I just I just hope that like in your mind's eye you can see the one dude
No,
like
I'm
laughing while he's doing
actually
the 2 and the 1, try to keep it together.
I'm totally like banging my head forward during those moments. Yeah, so had a great show so far. So appreciate your production value. We need the sound effects for the you know your classic sound effects, the clown nose,
Well,
the honking of the horn, the
basically it's just
whirlwind
gonna be
thing,
like
the long short.
no, it's gonna
Just
be
we need
12
all of
buttons,
it.
but they're all gonna be the like the spring boing sound.
Yeah, yes, Boyoyoing has to be a staple of this offense. We need
And then the
we
Price
need to
is
have
Right when you
that
get it wrong, the
established.
the horns.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyways, sorry, we're getting
I
off
need a
track.
I need a broken glass. I need a
Oh, well, that's for
yes.
intros. Yeah. All right. Well, lots of ideas. We'll work on these later, but let's wrap
Get a
this up.
mailbag. We need to be able to field comments and mail from our users.
Oh,
Do we
mailbag.
have a platform that they can
That's a good idea.
give us some feedback on, ask us questions about?
Maybe talk some
Can
trash.
they throw it in the Discord chat? Is there an email address we can
Oh, I'll
leverage?
definitely follow up with that.
What does
It'll
that look
be
like?
in the description of the video for sure.
Hmm,
All right.
sounds descriptive.
Well, that's what it's there for.
All right. Well, moving on to the next segment, we've got something that Travis has had a couple questions about. Big Chops, why don't you lay it on us? What's vexing you? What's on your mind?
Well, I'm playing in 3 leagues this year, and they're all on different fantasy platforms, and I just,
Adorable, by the way.
hmm,
That's adorable, by the
oh,
way.
you got to spread it around, man. Diversify your bonds. Um, yeah, so it seems to be that the 3 top ones are Yahoo, ESPN, and Sleeper. And I know in our main league, it's been going on for quite some time. I've only been part of it for the last couple of years. I know you're, I believe, one of the Are you one of the OGs in that league?
I'm just old Greg.
Oh, oh God, let's not touch that.
Is that OG?
Double G?
OG. Old
Oh, oh
Greg.
yeah. Anyways, um, yeah. So in our main league that Greg and I are both in, that's a Yahoo league, and I don't know. It seems to me that there's sort of a stigma against Yahoo as being kind of the old man's league. Have you ever heard anything like that, Greg? Or what other leagues are you in? And what platforms do you use?
Oh, Travis, what's your experience with Yahoo vis-a-vis ESPN or any other platform? What do you think?
Well, I mean, just to start
What's
off
your
with, the
experience?
waivers take forever. Um, I know I just was in my first sleeper
But
league this year.
which waivers take forever?
For
On
the
what
clear
platform?
to see who got what. You don't have to like in Yahoo that pops off around like 3 in the morning or so. So and that's Pacific time. So I guess if you're East Coast and you're getting up early, you might be able to check it then. But I know I always feel like it's Christmas every Wednesday
Travis
morning. So
jumping the East Coast bias drum after week 2 in fantasy football. Travis, You are a specimen. I love it.
I wouldn't say it's necessarily an
Outside
advantage.
outside of that geographic hardship that you must endure, what else do you appreciate or dislike about any of the platforms?
Well, I'm definitely digging on Sleeper. ESPN to me, it's e, both ESPN and Yahoo. I have just the hardest time finding like historical stuff, like what happened last year. Um, I know every time I do it on Yahoo, it's like I have to go, through Google and multiple links, and there's different ways to do stuff, and some of the stuff's outdated, and it's just not very intuitive. But I use Sleeper, and it's just, you hit League, and you got the history right there. Um, yeah, I'm liking it a lot. I think it definitely benefits from the design focus on being like a app, on your phone as opposed to like, a browser, something you can go through. You primarily go through like a browser or something like that. I did just download the Yahoo app. Previously I had pretty much exclusively been using, the browser version of Yahoo. Um,
Hmm.
I'm not as familiar with that. Like, how do you feel like Yahoo's app compares to the browser version? I know you have a little bit more experience using the app.
Oh, I think the browser version of any league I've ever been in is superior. I think that can be more feature rich. I think there's a lot more density of capability. As you mentioned, you look at historical data, I think that it's more robust and easier to access on the browser. Which is to say that each app has pluses and minuses, of course, but if I'm comparing an app to a desktop experience, I think that the browser desktop experience is superior, bar none. Never, except for maybe speed, right? Like
Hmm.
access or whatever. If you're looking for, hey, I've got 10 minutes and I need to go deep on something, the browser is where it's at, and the mobile app can be serviceable, but isn't the preferred method. So, that being said, of the apps, I think that Yahoo actually has some of the easiest user interface. If I'm comparing it to some of the other major ones, I think
Hmm.
Sleeper is so customizable
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
it its advantage is in the minutia, the details. And if you're just like in an office league, like, oh hey, I've got 8, 10 buddies at work, or one of them's got like a brother-in-law who wants to play a game or whatever. Yeah, ESPN's fine, Yahoo's fine, or whatever. So does that kind of answer
Yeah,
that piece of the question?
I just think, to me, Sleeper is kind of going above and beyond. Like they have other options, that I haven't really seen because I'm actually a commissioner in one of these leagues in the Sleeper League, and I've, for instance, in our Yahoo League, we prematurely voted to try to change the waiver clearance days from Wednesday morning to Thursday morning. Turns out you can't do that on Yahoo, but I mean that is definitely an option on Sleeper. So I think Sleeper caters more towards a more modern, contemporary style of league. Those are probably like the leagues that are doing like super flexes, multi-quarterback leagues, stuff like that. Um, yeah, I definitely think there's sort of clicks that go to each platform, but I'm definitely digging Sleepers, so
Yeah,
I'm
I
having
think
fun with it.
Sleeper. has a ton of appeal again for the customizable nature of it. I think that they offer things that none of the other services offer, and that's an awesome thing. I think that it does take somebody who's a little more dedicated on the front end, i.e., making, tweaking, maintaining the rules, um, more so than letting just the software. You get five variables and you just plug them in and it takes care of everything else. I think it does require a little bit more affirmative kind of
More micromanagement.
um, processing. Yes, absolutely. And so, of the other major apps or platforms, I
Hmm.
think that ESPN is that like stodgy old. Um, hey, we've been doing this league for 25 years because ESPN was the only league back then, and we've just
Ah,
never changed it.
interesting.
Um, yeah, and I think that like my first league is still an ESPN league, and it's non PPR. And
That's
for a
that's a
while,
rare bird.
it wasn't even fractional like scoring, so you had to get to say 19 yards got you 1 point, but 20 yards got you 2 points, right?
Ooh, they wouldn't
So
round
there's
it
no
up.
fractional scoring. No, it wouldn't round at all. There were no decimals. Um,
Wow, you just chop it right off.
yeah, and it's
Everything to the
still
left.
team quarterback. It's still team quarterback TQB.
Wow.
So even though Joe Burrow gets injured, I get all of the points for Browning,
Yeah, you don't have
right?
to worry about replacing them.
No, which it has advantages, disadvantages.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
it's just
Might be
I
another
think more
topic for another
limited
day.
in the scope of what it supposed to do. I think Yahoo is better in that realm, especially with like IDPs. I think that. Oh, and the other thing about ESPN, if you try and do like trending stats, like ads, like percentage wise, or like how many additions has this player had
Hmm.
this week or today or the last couple of days, I think that data is way lagging, which really shouldn't be for a company that size. Whereas Yahoo has much more up to date. Hey, this person's been added a thousand times because this information came out a week ago that the person in front of him has an ankle injury, right? Like there's much more reactive in the Yahoo ecosystem, I think. And then I look at some of the other things I've played with CBS, easily the worst. Don't do it. There's a
I
reason
didn't
you've
even
probably
know they
never
had
done
one.
it.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Just not good. And then I also play in multiple leagues with the NFL fantasy uh, app and platform,
Hmm.
and that one is definitely different. There's a lot of variables, more like Sleeper. Like you can really customize like it's an IDP league, um, but it's a lot more nuanced than the Yahoo league that we play in that regard. Um, and I think that it just has more features.
Nice.
Uh, the interface itself not super easy to work with. Has some of the same limitations as the ESPN one as far as um, user interface, like where are the stats, how can I access those easily? And again, we're talking just strictly the app format. I think that all of them have really good browser interface.
Hmm.
So that I'd like to just disassociate those. So that's my take on it. I think
All
that
right.
CBS non-existent, ESPN kind of near the bottom of the pile, NFL one probably a little worse, and then yeah,
All right.
the sleeper
Um,
one love to do more of it.
so I did want to ask you if you've ever had any
Yeah.
issues of integrity with any of these, because I don't know if you heard about this, but apparently on some leagues on the ESPN Fantasy Football Service, stats for all of the Raiders Chargers game. Um, I don't know if it affected the other Monday night game, but those stats were deleted. Everybody that participated in that game showed zeros, which obviously affected the final outcomes. Of the. I mean, I know that there's going to be stat corrections later, but this has implications as far as the waiver wire, because ESPN does default to reverse standings. So whether
Yeah.
you won or
Yeah.
lost definitely matters, as far as waiver wires.
Yeah.
So
That's actually a great point too.
it was a definitely controversial. I haven't actually checked my league, but I don't believe it affected us. But there's been a lot of reports out there of this happening, and people who should have had the number one pick and get a guy like Scatabo end up getting the number five pick, and don't get any of their players, which is unfortunate because even if they do correct the stats afterwards, there's still that sort of taint left behind, so to speak. So
Yeah, yeah, that kind of stuff you gotta clean it up as an organization. You can't just say rats, shucks. You have to uh, probably employ a lot of people to fix it, because there's a lot of money on the line.
yeah,
And if you think that anybody who plays in this league who's affected by that is going to be like, hey, let's go on ESPN or whatever the carrier is next year. They're like, fuck you, we're not doing
yeah.
that. That's the dumbest shit I ever heard. Like, they fucked it. This like all those people who traded on Robinhood, and then they're like, oh no, we actually can't execute that trade that you fucking lawfully made. And it's like, oh, well, then I'm not using your service ever again. Go fuck yourself. That's pretty much what this is.
Or all the
Yes.
Publishers Clearinghouse people that won the lifetime money. Publishers Clearinghouse went bankrupt, so they're basically not going to get paid anymore.
Yeah. It's like, well, what? Go fuck, go fuck yourself. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. What would you?
Yeah. What
What
do you
would you
want me
like?
to do about it?
Call him A or call him B. It's
Uh, all right. So yeah, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up the third quarter. We're gonna take just a couple minute break, and we'll be back with a real quick fourth quarter for you to wrap up the bets we had last week and see what we got going on. So, all right, we'll be right back.
Booyah! Welcome back, everybody. Big Chops, what do we got going on here in this last segment?
All right, just real quick, we're going to wrap it up with Travis's teasers. So we're just going to look at last week. So basically, we're taking teasers. I choose, about 3 teams, do them in combinations of 2, 1.1 unit to win 1 unit each. And these are going to be either minus 7.5 to 8.5, or plus 1.5 to plus 2.5. And the reason we're going for that range is when you take a 6-point teaser, you cross over 2 key numbers, 3 and 7, which are the 2 most common totals that teams win by in the NFL. And we're also going to be the criteria that we choose the teams are, number 1, they have that spread range, and we're looking for teams that have large amounts of money. So we are definitely following the money, and it's worked out so far. So last week, last week I had 3 teams. Oh, sorry, give me one moment. I put down the wrong info.
Take 2.
Yeah, take 2. Hold on. So Travis's teasers. Here we go. New England, we teased from 2.5 points to 8.5. They covered handily. That was, I believe they ended up winning straight up. So
Dolphins are terrible.
Yeah, I mean I was surprised by that. The fact that New England was an underdog to anybody's going to be an underdog to the Miami Dolphins, but I mean that's the value.
Well, hey, it benefited you and anybody who listens to this podcast and took advantage of Travis teasers.
So the second game we had was Kansas City plus 7.5 in a Super Bowl rematch against the Eagles.
Plus 7.5. That's juicy.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
Real juicy.
I mean,
woo!
It wouldn't have made sense for the Super Bowl last year just because of that insane blowout. That was a lot of fun to watch. But yeah, this game was a bit closer. It seemed like the Eagles were running away with it early on. Kansas City only managed to score 10 points in the second quarter, and seemed like they were just goose eggs for all the fourth until a Mahomes deep pass in garbage time to cover the spread put them only down by 3. So they weren't able to close it out, but we're not looking for them to close it out, just cover that spread. So yeah, plus 7.5, that hit. And then finally on the first Monday night game, we had Tampa Bay at plus 8.5. They just ended up winning straight up. They definitely had control of that game. They gave up a few points in the first quarter, but they pretty much had the rest of the game to themselves. So that was an easy cover right there. So yeah, each of those combined into 2-leg 6-point teasers, 3 bets, along with the 3 wins on week 1, puts Travis's teasers at 6-0 plus 6 units for the season. So yeah, I'm real happy about that. It's a good start. Ride that wave. So we're hoping to continue our luck this week. I have 3 bets for you. The first is going to be Houston plus 2.5. Now these lines are going to be as of 10:30 on Wednesday, September 17th. So lines move all the time. Make sure you tune in and listen and get them as we call them. That way you can get those best lines, because in my experience, they're mostly going to move not in the beneficial direction, just because we're putting our money on where all the money, or our own money on where all the big bets are. So yeah, the first pick is Houston, and you can get them for plus 2.5 points right now. They're playing the Jaguars. The Texans have 34% of the tickets, but 65% of the handle. That's a 31% difference. That's huge. So that just means, those big tickets are going on Houston's side. So we're going to take them 2.5, tease them to 8.5.
Choppers. I see Jacksonville minus 1.5. 1.5.
Well, that's you can shop around. Some books, let's see if I can.
Oh,
Some books
that's
you can still get
huge.
2.5. So that's why it's definitely good to spread your money around your bankroll onto different books. Because if you shop around, sometimes you can get a difference of half a point, 1 point.
Whole
Sometimes,
point.
sometimes that's
Ooh.
the hook. Sometimes, I mean, regardless, even if it was plus 1.5, with the 6 points, it still crosses against 3 and 7, which would put you at 7.5. So even at 1.5, it's still a play. So you're looking at
All right.
Houston
Beautiful.
anywhere from 1.5 to 2.5. Either of those. Once you hit one, you may want to reconsider. But if you can get 1.5 to 2.5, definitely put your money on them. The second leg is going to be Green Bay. They are currently minus 7.5. It's also up to 8 in some books, but like I said, that's still within the range that we want to target. The Packers are playing the Browns, but the Packers have about 43% of the tickets, so a little under half, but 85% of the money, the entire handle is on the Packers. So this is probably the biggest discrepancy of the week, especially with that teaser. I mean, you know how staunch the Packers defense is, and they're playing the Browns. So 7.5 points might be a lot, but when you tease that down to 1.5, I think it's a real good bet that the Packers are gonna take this game. So our second leg of the parlay, the teaser is going to be Green Bay minus 7.5, tease down to minus 1.5.
Beautiful.
All right, and for
Love
our
it.
third spot is going to be the Seahawks against the Saints. They are hosting the Saints.
Ooh.
It
As
opened at
already mentioned in a previous segment.
hmm it opened at 6.5, but it's already moved to 7.5 in the Saints' favor. So that is because there is a large amount of money on the Seahawks. Not as much. Not the ticket size isn't quite as big as like the Green Bay game. They do have the majority of the tickets, 62%, with 78% of the handle. But like I said, that's 7.5 points. You take those 6 points, and it gets you down to 1.5. Cross over that 3 and 7. There's a lot of value in that. So yeah, third bet is going to be Seattle Seahawks minus 7.5, tees down to minus 1.5. All right.
Right. Well, I love it.
All right. So that concludes Travis's teasers. I'll see you next week to see how we result from that. Hopefully we can build our bankroll some more. But moving on our next betting segment, we have a guest better who submitted some of his top picks. Richie submitted his Dick's picks, and Richie, he's real big on parlays. He obviously loves the teasers too, so he submitted to us three separate teasers. One was Dallas and Arizona. He teased Dallas down to just minus half point, so all they had to do was win. Tie's no good. Tie will get you a loss just because of that hook, that minus half point. But unfortunately, Dallas, they ended up covering. They won that game in spectacular fashion by 3 points. That was probably the game of the week to watch. And Arizona also covered as well. So his first parlay, or his first teaser won right there. But unfortunately, the next one, he took the Raiders, and I believe he teased them to about 9.5, which is a good amount. But like I said, how anemic the Raiders looked. Unfortunately, I believe, lost by 11, so that was a loss right there. He paired them with Detroit. I believe he teased them down to just the win. But unfortunately, with the teasers, you got to win both. So yeah, the pick number 2, that was a loss. He followed that up with a Jacksonville and Baltimore teaser. So that one he hit. Jaguars ended up covering. Baltimore, I can't remember who they played, but it was a blow. I think they scored 41 points. It was pretty gross, which is kind of weird though, because Derrick Henry had like almost no production. but that just goes to show you how deep the Baltimore Ravens are. But yeah, so he ended up winning that teaser right there. So he is 2-1 on his teasers. He also submitted his parlay of the day, which was Philadelphia Raiders and Dallas. But unfortunately, with the Raiders not covering, that was a loss right there. So that was -1 unit. So he is currently at 2-2. And then to round it all off in Richie fashion, his underdog was the Raiders money line, looking for a big upset. Unfortunately, they weren't able to pull that off. So yeah, that's a loss right there, putting Dick's picks at 2-3 for the season going forward. So we look forward to see what he has in store for us next week. You got to keep at it. Don't let one down week get you down. And yeah, we'll see you on the other side. This brings us.
Travis,
What's up?
You got to have little Dick into the studio, man. You got to get him back into.
Oh, don't worry. As soon as we can, he'll be
live.
Unfortunately, he's got hockey tonight.
Just...
Playoff hockey, though, so he's got more important things to do.
Okay, but we need on like the Saturday night show. Maybe we're doing Friday, whatever. We need to get him into a headset, and we need to hear him lay out his picks.
All right, you hear that, Richie? Ball's in your court.
Yeah. No, we just need to make it happen. So
we will.
Yeah,
don't worry about that.
Gotta have it.
That's
gotta have it.
Definitely gonna happen. All right. That brings us to the 2-minute warning.
Yeah.
Tweet. All right. No commercial break. We're just gonna get right through it. We are going through Greg's pick'ems for the week. So, Greg, you got the schedule up?
Well, okay. So last week, which was not broadcast, collusion. We did okay.
More of incompetence.
So this week, we're gonna do fine, and it's not something that we're gonna really choose to lock down on Wednesday. We're gonna do that on like the Friday or Saturday night show.
Yeah.
So tonight,
still going through growing pains.
We will lock in tomorrow's. I mean, it's a joke, right?
Well,
Dolphins. It's
give us a what's the matchup that we got?
Come on, it's like a Spinal Tap sketch.
For the folks at home, who are the two teams playing on?
The Dolphins at the Bills.
Thursday night. Yeah. So.
Come on, it's a joke.
Yeah.
It's like the sandwiches are so tiny.
Yeah, this is.
Anyways, we did 14 out of 16 last week. Felt really good about that.
Take our word for it.
Actually, only lost on tiebreakers. It's fine. Everything's fine. But tomorrow's game, Bills are 10.5-point favorites. The over/under is 50.5. I hate the Thursday night games. I love the under 50.5. Yeah, I'll take that all day. It could be fucking 27 to like 10, and that would be a totally reasonable score. So no problem there. I'm sure you could do Bills. I'm sure you could do Bills spread under the over/under, and the Bills money line.
You take all 11.5 points.
Somehow make like more money than you probably should. And yeah, I guess I hate Thursday night games, Travis. Like the only player I'll ever like want to start in a Thursday night game, there's one player. It's the home running back. And if the home team sucks, I'm not going to start that player. So I don't want any receiver. I don't want a quarterback. I don't want anybody in these fucking games except the home running back. And Tell me I'm wrong. Like I haven't done the
No,
research
I
on
mean they're
it.
typically low-scoring affairs.
It's terrible. It's the worst fucking thing ever. Thursday night games suck donkey dick. Who sucks donkey dick? Thursday night football games for fantasy football purposes. Every once in a while, there's a really good one. There's probably like 2 or 3 a year. Hooray. Every other time, the quarterback sucks. The receivers suck. The road team sucks. Unless it's like a huge, because there are always mismatches too, which is also weird. It's like a weird
Yeah, it's about
divisional
as big as
game
it
where it's
gets.
like, yeah, or it's like the worst AFC team against the best NFC team. It's like, what was the point of that? But basically, other than that, it's oh,
All right, so I think we're in agreement here. We're both taking Buffalo money line. All right, we're having a little technical difficulties. Let me pause this just for a moment. All right, sorry about that, folks. Seem to have lost my co-host, Greg the Governor Davis. So just for a little posterity, and to wrap this episode up, I'm gonna go through Travis's pick'ems for the week. We have Green Bay at Cleveland. Think Green Bay outmatches Cleveland definitely. Gotta go Green Bay. Up next, Indianapolis Colts and Tennessee Titans. Let's see where the money is on them. Um, so yeah, the Colts are relatively heavily favored. A lot of the bets on them, but early season upsets, divisional game. Um, just for the to be contrarian, I'm going to choose the Titans. After that, we have Cincinnati and Minnesota. This is a bit closer game, but there is a lot of money on the Bengals. 38% of the tickets with 55% of the handle. So I'm looking for the Bengals for an upset. After that, we have Pittsburgh and New England. Even though the Patriots are the underdogs, not by much though. They're only at plus 110 straight up. There's a good amount of money on them, not a huge amount, but as you know me, Mr. Contrarian, I'm going for the Patriots. We have the Rams at the Eagles. Rams are about plus 160, but I still think the Eagles are a really good team. They've got this super potential, passing game that they haven't really utilized. They've been leaning on the running game, but I mean, it gets the job done. But just the fact that they have, that capability, I still think the Eagles are going to pull it off. So yeah, going for the Eagles. After that, we have New York Jets and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So let's see where the money is on there. You don't even have to look at that. Buccaneers are a much better team. We're definitely going Buccaneers, straight up. After that, we have the Raiders and Washington Redskins. We believe that's a 3.5 point spread in favor of the Commanders. You know what? I'm going with the Raiders on this one. I think they need to bounce back. They're going to have a fire in their belly, and I think they have a chance against the Commanders, so let's go with the Las Vegas Raiders straight up against Washington. Next, we have Atlanta and Carolina. This one, bit of a larger spread. Falcons are minus 245. Possibility for an upset, but I mean, if we're getting even odds compared to what Vegas puts down, still think the Falcons are going to win this game ultimately. So we're going with the Falcons on this one. Houston and Jacksonville is up next. Houston Texans. A lot of money on the Texans, and as you know, they were part of my teasers. Even with the points, I still think the Texans have a real good chance of getting an upset. Falls under the early season upsets model, so I'm going with the Texans right here. After that, we have the Denver Broncos and Los Angeles Chargers. The Broncos, a good amount of money on the Broncos. So it looks like we are taking a lot of underdogs. Let's look for week 3. A lot of upsets. Fingers crossed. Let's take the Broncos on this one. 10%, only 10% of the tickets, but over a quarter of the money. And it also fits the system for early season upsets. So I'm liking the chances of a Broncos upset. After that, we have New Orleans Saints and Seattle Seahawks. Let's see how the money lies on this. Oh yeah, it's the Saints. What am I thinking? These guys they're just, I'll put it a little more delicately than Greg. They're not good. And I don't think the Seahawks are the team that they're going to disprove that against. So we're definitely going Seahawks on this one. Next we have Dallas and Chicago. This should be a pretty close affair, I believe. I mean, the Bears' offense is spotty. Cowboys' defense is not good. I think that's going to be kind of where the break happens. But I'm high on the Bears this year, so let's go with the Bears money line. I think they're going to turn it around and hopefully start heading in the right direction going forward in this season. Next we have Arizona and San Francisco, a divisional affair. Should be interesting. These divisional games, these guys see each other, a lot more than any of the other teams. They know each other better. San Francisco, I think, is still a good team, but I think the Cardinals have a real good chance of this upset. A lot of money on the Cardinals too, 19% of the bets with 40% of the handle. So big discrepancy there. So yeah, this one I'm looking at a Cardinals upset. To go to the night game, on Sunday, Kansas City at New York. All right, let's see. Where did those guys go? Kansas City. How am I not finding this? Sunday night game. There. Where are they at? There they are. How did I miss that? Yeah, the Giants. There's not any money at all coming in on the Giants, so no reason to suspect a potential upset based on some maybe insider knowledge. But yeah, that ain't happening. Kansas City's running away with this game. Definitely outmatched the Giants, so we're going Kansas City. To wrap this up for the Monday night game, Detroit and Baltimore. The Ravens are an amazing team. Lions, they definitely got their shit together on offense week 2 compared to week 1. But, this Ravens team is just so well balanced. They're stable. They got pretty much all the same pieces as last year. As long as they don't choke in the playoffs like they always do. I think they're one of the top contenders for a Super Bowl champion. But this is during the regular season, so I think the Ravens are definitely going to take this one on Monday night. So yeah, that's the Baltimore Ravens to round out these pick'ems. Thank you all for listening and tuning in, and we will be back soon. We'll keep you updated on the chat and on my channel, and look forward to talking with you guys next week.